All right, good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us for our info session today. The topic today is financial aid, and we'd like to welcome all the schools and all the other staff individuals that have joined us today. My name is Janet Sturr, and I'm the team manager with Department of Rehabilitation in Thousand Oaks office. And our presenter today is Ms. Kimberly Karinke, and I'm going to go ahead and let her introduce herself. Welcome, Kim. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here. My name is Kim Karinke, and I'm the Financial Aid Officer at Moorpark College. So thank you for having me. Hopefully you can see my slideshow, the Financial Aid Steps to Success. You could give me a thumb up that everybody can see that, and we'll get started.
And I'll just add too, if you have questions, if you'd like to put them in the chat, if we have time at the end, we'll be happy to answer any questions. You can just put them right in the chat. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. So the first thing that we're going to go over is the California College Promise Grant Program, also referred to as the CCPG. It's a fee waiver program. The California College Promise Grant, it's an enrollment fee waiver program provided by the state of California to California residents attending a California community college. It waives the all per unit enrollment fees for an eligible student for an academic year. So right now at Moorpark College, the in-state tuition and fees rate is $46 per unit. So if you have that fee waiver, the CCPG, it pays that $46 per unit for all the classes that you enroll in. How do you apply for it? Well, the best way is to do a FAFSA. So the FAFSA is the free application for federal student aid. We recommend doing it every year that you're going to be attending college. It just started being available for the 24-25 year. So if you're graduating this year, senior, and you'll be starting college in the fall, it's the 2024-2025 application that you want to complete. There's also an application if you're an AB 540 or undocumented student. If you're not a US citizen or an eligible non-citizen, then the application for you would be the California DREAM Act instead of the FAFSA. You can also get the CCPG by applying for the California DREAM Act, and that one is also available for 2024 to 2025 now. Or you could do a separate CCPG fee waiver by completing a form. That's not the recommended method because it only would be for the fee waiver, and we want you to apply for everything that you could possibly get. So we would recommend that you do the FAFSA or the California DREAM Act. But if you only want the fee waiver, there is a separate application you could fill out. We strongly recommend that you complete the FAFSA or the DREAM application for the CCPG program, because that will also apply you for all other kinds of aid from state and federal agencies. So a lot of times what we hear from students is my parents make too much money, so I won't qualify for aid, and then they won't fill out an application. The governor did pass a law a year ago called AB 469 that requires all graduating seniors to do a financial aid application. And the reason is because of this myth, because you don't know what you're going to qualify for unless you do the application. So you need to do an application because you might be pleasantly surprised and you might qualify for all different kinds of aid that you weren't even anticipating to help you pay for college. And there's a difference, right? In high school, you're not really having to pay for school. When you go to college, they charge you for school. So that's something to keep in mind, that you need a resource to help you afford that. So along with that myth, the reality is that there is no income cutoff to qualify for federal student aid. Many factors such as the size of your family and your year in school are taken into account. We want you to remember when you fill out the FAFSA that you're also automatically applying for funds from your state and possibly from your school as well for things like scholarships. You need an application. And in fact, some schools won't even consider you for any of their scholarships, including academic scholarships, until you submitted a FAFSA form. So don't make assumptions about what you'll get. Fill out the FAFSA form and find out. They also have what's called a FAFSA forecaster. So if you're really concerned and think that you won't qualify, there is an estimating calculator that you can use before you answer the question on the FAFSA to figure out what you're going to qualify for. We also want you to know that if you don't qualify for the CCPG, there's another promise program. And at Moorpark, we call that the Moorpark College Promise. And it also requires that you do an application, a FAFSA or a California Dream Act, a CADA. So you can qualify for 2 years of tuition free at Moorpark College, even if you're not eligible for federal financial aid. So if mom and dad make $500,000 and you think you're not going to qualify for any kind of aid, you can still get the tuition free, but you still have to fill out the application. So we have a program called the Moorpark College Promise. And to receive the promise, there are some conditions. You have to apply to be a student at Moorpark College. You need to be a first year, first time student or a returning student. You have to give us a FAFSA or a California Dream Act application each year that you're in school, and it needs to have Moorpark College on it. This is our school code that you would enter on the FAFSA. And you need to be a California resident or an undocumented AB 540 student, and you can't already have a degree or a certificate, and you must enroll full-time, so 12 units or more. And then it would cover the costs because you don't qualify for the fee waiver, the CCPG. This is another kind of fee waiver. We also want to let you know that we have assistance. If you ever need help, you can come into our office or you can do it virtually. This is information on our virtual assistants. So we can answer quick questions during these sessions. We can help you fill out a FAFSA or a California Dream Act or any of our forms. We can help you navigate our system or talk to you about basic financial aid questions during these hours. Hopefully you can scan this QR code. It gives you a link to the Zoom, and these are the hours. It's Monday through Thursday. Most days it's 11 to 12 and then 1 to 3. On Tuesdays we have special night hours, so anytime between 4 and 6 p.m. you could also join and get assistance or ask your questions. The other thing you need to be doing if you're a senior is you need to create a Web Grants for Students account. And so this is a QR code to take you to that link. It's from the California Student Aid Commission, and that's where you can get something called a CAL grant, CAL being short for the word California, C-A-L. So this is an additional grant that our state gives away to graduating California seniors, and your high school submits information on your behalf, and you need to make your account so that you can monitor whether or not you receive this grant. And then if you ever have any questions, we want to make you aware that 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, we have hundreds of videos on financial aid topics that you could access through our website. So it looks like this on our website. There's a little box, you click on it, and then it takes you to a portal where you can search over hundreds of videos on financial aid topics. And then I wanted to also go over with you our website and kind of how to navigate our website. I thought maybe that might be helpful. So this is our website. If I was on a search engine like Google, I would just type in Moorpark College to find it and click on it. Takes you to the same place that I was, to the website. Apparently, eventually, hopefully you can all still see this. And so when you're on our website, up at the top where it says admissions and aid, the aid part is financial aid. So if you hover on that, then you see the financial aid website and you click on it. And this is all the information we have for you on financial aid. So this was the slide we had on the live assistance. It has a link that you can click on to join the live assistance during the hours. It also has the information about the web grants for students that I showed you. There's a video here that you could watch for more information on how to make the account on the California Student Aid Commission website. This is the part that I was telling you about to watch videos. So there's hundreds of videos when you click on here. You can search by different topics about applying for aid or all the different things, or it has an actual search bucket where you could type in, like say you wanted to know about satisfactory academic progress. It will find the video that's most relevant for you. It usually gives you many options, and then you can pick. Some of them are just really quick. So they call it a minute to learn it. So some of them are longer, but you can go through all the different types. Or say you wanted to know about grants, you could click on grants and it will bring you up different types of grants that are available and what it takes to get them. Or if you want to know more about our state programs, they have videos on the state programs too. So it's a library. It even tells you like information on budgeting and loans and financial literacy. There's just all kinds of information here that you can search and watch videos about. Going back to the website, this is, excuse me, this is our phone number. This is our email. This is where we're located. We're in Fountain Hall on the second floor. And these are the hours that we're open. So if you and your parents want to come in for assistance, you could come in during those hours. Someone could help you. And then it's got all different kinds of information. So most links, we try to make them clickable. If you need to fill out the FAFSA, this will take you directly to the FAFSA application. If you need to fill out a California Dream Act application, this link would take you directly there. And then there's all different kinds of information on financial aid. So the other thing that I wanted to share with you is what happens after we have your FAFSA, and we call that the next steps. So we have steps to success. Once you complete your online requirements, you should check your portal. So once you apply to be a student at Moorpark College, they assign you a portal. And the way that we communicate with you is an email address that they assign to you. So you have to start monitoring the email address that you're assigned for our messages. And there's also a portal that you can log in and do things. So it has in the portal, it has financial aid tools. You create an online financial aid account where you can turn in forms to us if you need to. And you can also track your progress with your financial aid under the financial aid tools. Once we process, if we don't need anything else from you other than the FAFSA, then we would process you and you would get an award notification email. Again, the email would go to the MyVCCD email address that you're assigned when you become a student at Moorpark College. And once you get that email, you'll see what kind of awards that you're going to get. And then you'll also have to learn about satisfactory academic progress. And we calculate that at the end of every term. And it determines whether you can continue to receive aid. As long as you're doing well in your classes, then that's not a problem. The next step after you receive that award email is that you're going to get an email. If you're receiving grants or loans, you're a new student, you're either going to get a green envelope in the mail with an access code, or you're going to get an email from Bank Mobile. That's the disbursement agent, and their name is right here. And you have to set up an account to receive the funds once we start issuing, once classes start in the fall. So that's part of the process, is to set up that account and choose how you want to receive your disbursements or your refunds. And have instructions here on how to do that. So you want to get all of that done before school starts in August. And then it tells you after you set that up that you can monitor your portal and the website for important dates and more information. And um, if you need to borrow loans, there's more information that you need to do. You have to fill out a master promissory note and take some insurance counseling if that's the kind of aid that you want to get. And then there's our contact information, also the same information that was on the website with our hours and our phone number and our department email. And I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing at this point and just check and see if there's any questions that you had on the process or if there's anything else that I could go over.
I don't see anything in the chat yet, Kim, but I do have a
Okay.
question. If we have a student that has an IEP or a 504 or is just for whatever reason not able to take full-time status, is there any exceptions for those students in terms of the
So
12 units?
at Moorpark College, we have our disabled students programs and services is called Access. And so they would need to get an accommodation through our Access department, and they would provide us with an accommodation once that person has joined Access. And they would let us know if an accommodation was needed. And I can tell you I got one today and it said, you know, a student taking 6 units or a half-time load is to be considered a full-time load. So they would need an accommodation letter like that from our access department if they wanted to receive like the Moorpark College Promise as a full-time student, but they don't actually take full-time units. That would be something they would need to set up with them.
And that would still only be for 2 years though, right? Even if they
Correct.
just took 6 units. Okay.
Correct. There is a 2-year cutoff or funding. If we run out of funds, because this program grows by hundreds of students every year, so at some point we could, you know, the governor could cease funding it, or we might not have enough funding to fund all students. So it is first come, first serve. We haven't run into that yet, but it is a possibility.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you. Great question. So I hope that you're all able and understand that we don't care whether you're coming to Moorpark College or not. We have events and assistance to help you fill out the FAFSA or the California Dream Act. So you don't have to be our student. We would still help you. And we have many ways for you to get that assistance. You can come in person. You can go to an event at your high school. You can join us on Zoom. We have special Cash for College events. There's 2 Saturdays coming up on February 24th from 8:30 to 11:30 here at Moorpark College. We're having an event where we help families fill out the FAFSA. And again, on Saturday, March 23rd from 8:30 in the morning till 12:30. That day, we're doing 4 hours of assistance just on FAFSA and California Dream Act. So there should be an option to help you if you need help doing the FAFSA. We also have representatives that go out to every high school in our area. So you might want to check with your career counselor on campus to find out when they're going to be there and see if you can get one-on-one assistance for you or your parents that way as well.
Can you talk a little bit about the new FAFSA? Because there are changes this year.
Sure, it's supposedly a lot simpler, less questions. It links directly to the IRS. So if you were familiar with doing it in previous years and having to do the IRS data retrieval tool, that's no longer necessary. But because it links directly to the IRS, every student and every parent has to have a separate logon and they each have to contribute and do their part of the FAFSA. So the student is going to do a part of the FAFSA and the parent's going to do a part of the FAFSA, and FAFSA is going to match those two parts together. And once you have a completed application, that's when it gets forwarded to the school. Here at Moorpark, because there's been so many changes and because of the delay with the 24-25 FAFSA, we will probably begin processing sometime in March. And that's when we would start communicating with students. So even if you complete it now, we won't be ready until March.
Thank you. Does anyone else have any questions, either in the chat or if they want to come off mic and just ask a question?
Hi, we had a question. One of my students asked, because we're in the post-secondary program, the 18 to 22, and if he went the route to the Moore Park College Promise, would he be able to apply because he's coming out of our program at 22, or does it have to be high school?
It is not, sorry, it is not age specific.
Oh,
So
okay.
you just have to be a first year
Oh,
student,
first year
or
student.
you could also be a returning student. So what we're
Okay.
looking for in our system is, have you ever gotten it before? Do we have an
Oh,
application? And are you a full-time
oh,
student?
okay. So it could be
So
okay
we,
that he's coming out of the post-secondary program at Simi High. Okay.
right,
Okay.
right. Or if they stopped out because of the pandemic in recent years, a lot of students stopped out and now they're returning. They also qualify if they never got 2 years of it. And as long as they give us an application each year,
Oh,
we will
okay.
see if they qualify for it.
That makes sense. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
I have a question. So what if would students state that their parents don't want to participate, they don't want to complete the FAFSA, they don't want to provide their income taxes or anything like that? What do you do in a situation like that?
We can have a meeting with the student and try and call the parents and on behalf of the student with the student's permission and talk to the parents about the importance of them supplying their information. Unfortunately, if they refuse, the application will not be completed and the student won't be able to receive any aid because it'll be an incomplete application. So it's not an option. Unfortunately, the federal government says that the parent has the first responsibility before the government has the responsibility to help a student. So they're very strict rules. They're written by the federal government. And a lot of times students will think, I'm independent because I'm on my own. My parents said I'm 18, go live on your own, go pay for everything yourself. And they think that because of that, that they should be able to file the FAFSA on their own. And unfortunately, we have to follow the regulations, and the regulations say until you have a child of your own, turn 24 or get married, that your parents have the first responsibility. So the parent has to be the contributor.
Is that only for the first year student and then as a second year they can do it on their own?
No, it's until they reach the age of 24
Okay. All right. Thank you.
or get married or have a child.
Okay. Thank you.
Great question. I see another hand up. Gloria, did you have a question?
This is Gloria. I represented one of my consumers in putting in an appeals with the question that was just asked right now regarding non-parent participation, but my student was afraid of their parent. There was a lot of abuse. Is there still a way of appealing or in submitting verifications to get exempt from that in cases of abuse from the
Yeah,
parent?
the student would file the application and then come have a meeting with a financial aid specialist.
So if we ascertain as a counselor that it's not just that, the parents are saying, hey, you're little birdie, fly on your own, you're independent, you're no longer under my wing, but it actually has to do with some sort of abuse, then there is a path that way.
Yes.
Okay, thank you so much.
I've had that happen as well, with a previous student of ours where it wasn't abuse, but it was no parent contact, and the student was actually living with an uncle, and there was zero parent contact. So he appealed for the I can't remember what the term is. It's like independent status based on that criteria. It was
They
an
call
appeal.
that unusual circumstances now.
Oh, okay. Thank
Oh,
you.
okay. Any other questions? Yes, in chat. Okay, well, I thank you all for attending. This was great. Thank you so much, Kim, for coming on to share all this information. If you have questions, please take advantage of Moorpark College Financial Aid, or I'm sure every college has help too, but Moorpark's in our community. So we thank you so much. And we'll
Appreciate the
see you all next month.
opportunity.
All
Take
right,
care.
thank you. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Janet. Thank you, Kimberly.
Thank you.
Oh, hi, Janet. I had a question. Do you guys do monthly like DOR meetings?
We've been doing these monthly since October.
Oh,
Was our
okay. So I
first
just got
ones.
back from maternity leave, so I'm kind
Oh,
of been out of the loop. So okay, so I'll
were
look
you
for
getting the emails?
Yeah, I got this one, and
Okay.
so the one about the financial aid. So
Yeah,
so thank you.
and we'll be sending this out to everybody too, people that weren't able to be there.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thanks.